Hey, it's Alicia from BombBomb, and we are here at Rehumanize, and these are the Rehumanize interviews. Right here, I have Ruby Greenberg with me from Seattle, Washington. Just tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I am a loan officer and branch manager for Salmon Bay Community Lending in Seattle. Awesome. And it's a smallish team, it's 6 of us. And it has just been so much fun integrating video and using BombBomb to really transform how we interact with our database.
Awesome.
And with our clients. Yeah.
Awesome. So how did you come to find BombBomb? Like, what was your first introduction to doing video in lending?
So in about 2015, Nancy Chapin, who's here at the conference, sat me down and was like, "Oh my God, I'm doing all this video. BombBomb, it's so cool. You could track it." And I was like, "That's awesome." And then for about 2 years, I talked about how I was going to do video, and I talked about it, and I talked about it, and did not one video. And then in 2017 was like, "That's it. I'm sick of hearing myself talk about this," and just started plugging video everywhere I could because I knew I needed practice, and I knew it was probably not going to be fabulous at first.
Yeah.
And just ran with it, and especially going back, it's like, "Ooh, yeah," and even my dad at one point was like, "Yeah, those first ones were kind of scary, honey." But then now, the thing that we use it the most for is doing weekly updates for my borrowers and buyers, and letting them know what's happening in the transaction. So
awesome.
that's where it's been most pivotal.
Okay.
in my business.
Is doing the weekly updates.
Yeah.
So you also do a ton of educational content.
Yes. Yep.
Did you work up to that? Did that come out of doing the weekly updates and realizing there was an appetite for this, or how did you evolve into that?
So the educational piece is the piece that I brainstorm the most about, I get the most sort of excited about, but then the day starts and I'm responding to clients, and then it's Friday and shoot, another week went by. Yeah. And so the weekly updates has been what has made us consistently integrate video.
Awesome.
And then now that has become just a natural part of the business, we're able to really pretty easily incorporate at the end of the Friday video updates, okay, let's do 3 educational ones. Nice. Or let's go downstairs to our little studio and plug, and just kind of do 10 little videos really quick, because they're all topics I can speak to off the top of my head.
Sure.
I answer these questions day in and day out, and so it's just trying to capture it on video so that we can be answering the questions more easily. Yeah. And more, having in terms of templates.
Yeah.
And all the stuff you were just talking about that BombBomb does so very well. So.
There's a lot of hidden stuff in there for sure. So you're doing weekly updates on a regular basis. You're doing some educational content. What were the first videos that you were sending? Did you start with updates, or did you start with the one-to-ones?
I started with updates because one of the biggest issues I was having in my business was on Friday at like 4 p.m. everybody wanted to have the status of where their transaction was at, as I wanted them to have as well.
Yep.
And I was spending all this time sending emails to the borrowers, and then sending emails to each realtor, and it was taking forever. I have 4 children. I can't come home at 9 p.m. That's just not an option. Yeah. And so we were brainstorming how to do a simultaneous update to everybody that they would actually grok and really hear, and not have selective hearing if it's a phone call, not have missed email if it's an email. So the weekly updates is where we started, and it started with me going, "Hi, it's Ruby. So this is where things are at," and I would go back and watch it, like, "Damn, that's boring. Oh." I don't have the attention span for it, so how would I expect anybody else to?
Yeah.
And then we went from that to a little piece of paper with a calendar, and I'd be like holding the piece of paper up and trying to point to it, and that was impossible to actually read or track. And now we have a big calendar that I stand in front of. I use sticky notes, and it's become super efficient.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen your calendar videos, and it's such an effective way to both really provide the human context to all of this information in a really visually appealing way. Have you noticed that you have to answer a lot less questions on the phone?
So many less questions. And sometimes even it'll be about 3:30 in the afternoon and I'll get the email. Have I missed the Friday update? Like, no, it's coming. And that's the only question, because they know that their questions are going to get answered.
Yeah.
And they know it's going to be transparent, and they know that I know what's going on in the transaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as the team grows and I'm doing less in the minutia of the file, it's a way for me to truly get a good pulse on all of my transactions at once, and have a team meeting that happens right before those videos go out, where me, my loan officer assistant, processor, we're all together deciding what's going to be said to all parties. So there's never a moment where I say something on video and then my processor said, "You're saying we're going to have docs out when?"
Yeah.
So I'm honoring my team and honoring what the information they need.
Awesome.
So
awesome. Are you doing any video to just make sure that you're staying top of mind with the real estate agents in your network?
With the realtors, yes. We have a schedule of every other week I do a shopper's video, and then on alternating weeks I'll do a realtor video that go out to the BombBomb list that keeps track of who's everybody that has a pre-approval letter and is out shopping, and I'll say something about what's happening in the market or some little tip. Oftentimes I sort of come up with it as I'm walking downstairs to do the video. But that way they know that I'm engaged in talking to them specifically. And then with realtors as well, every other week approximately something goes out to them. And sometimes they're sort of more prepped videos that we've added captions to, and sometimes they're just off the cuff. Here's what I'm seeing happening out there.
So the videos that you're sending out to real estate agents for staying top of mind, are they more educational? Are they more like a check-in? Are they high value? What are you doing with that segment to make sure that they're keeping engaged with you?
So I'm all about education, and that is totally my focus and my mantra. And anytime someone's saying, "I'm sorry for all the questions," it's like, nope. This is what I do. Bring me your questions. So for the realtors, depending on what the market's doing, I'll do usually some sort of either a math type breakdown. So for example, of when seller pay closing costs kind of came back into the market all of a sudden. I did an analysis of, okay, if your buyer puts $7,000 towards seller pay closing costs versus $7,000 towards their down payment, this is going to be the impact after 5 years, this is going to be the impact after 10 years. And this is super low tech, right? We've got like butcher block paper and my assistant that has nice handwriting, writes it in big print, not fancy, but it gets the point across.
Sure, and it's human.
Right.
Which we always come back to, that people will have a ton of grace for you, or they'll be just as engaged if you're providing a lot of value, because there's that connection element. Whereas you can have a beautifully edited video with graphics and it doesn't provide a lot of value, and people aren't going to stay engaged. So the value is the important piece for sure.
It is, and in mortgage, one big issue around any educational pieces is compliance.
Yes.
Because the minute you say a rate, you have to say APR. The minute you say a loan amount, you have to, there's all of these trigger terms.
Yep.
And so we got a lot further along in BombBomb than we're just now barely starting any sort of editing. So we just decided to, at the end of the educational video, I had silly hat compliance moment, and I'd put on a silly hat and hold up a board with all my compliance terms and go, okay, done. And that passed compliance. And I was like, cool. And it was just a dorky, real way to stay legal and not let the legality bog down the information.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never heard of someone doing that, and I absolutely love it.
It makes us laugh. I have a whole little pile of silly hats down there.
Hat compliance. Do you prefer the more produced videos that you've decided ahead of time what you're going to say, or do you prefer the more off the cuff, I'm just going to jump in and say this?
I have done a lot more of the off the cuff, just say this, and so that has come to be where I feel very comfortable.
Yeah.
As we're trying to develop the mortgage literacy library, I'm sort of wanting more of the informational videos, and I just learned literally on the plane coming here about how I can do the screen grab and the little picture.
The screen
I'm so
share.
excited.
Yes.
I am so excited because that's, I feel like, going to allow me to just talk and move numbers around the way I want to move them around.
Yes.
As we've been doing some of the basic editing, it's been really frustrating because none of my takes are the same. And so it's impossible to splice things together. Yeah. And there's been some frustration in that, and the suggestion of possible scripting, to which I'm like,
But then you have to learn a script.
Then I have to learn a script, and I usually wear glasses, so if we tape it to the tripod, I can't see it. So I'm really excited about the
screen recorder is one of those functions that I think our mortgage clients have been more excited about than our real estate clients. Yes, there's lots of use cases in real estate, but for a lender to be able to go over that kind of digital information and train people on these things that traditionally you're like, what am I going to do? Write on butcher block paper?
Right, exactly. Exactly. And I do a lot of Zoom calls with borrowers to go over numbers and explain concepts. But scheduling those can be very challenging, even when it's a Zoom call and nobody's driving to drive anywhere. And so I think this will free up scheduling quite a bit, and also allow me to work in other odd hours as a mama of four. I can't just jump back on after bedtime, because then I'm doing kitchen and doing the list continues. What's that?
I said I have 3. I understand this very, very well.
And so I think a lot of the traditional sort of ways to just get it done aren't options. And so we have to get smarter about it.
Yeah, I love it. Do you remember what your aha moment was with BombBomb?
When I realized, well, there have been many. The Friday video updates, like just as a way to save my time, was how they were initially developed. But then I realized that buyers don't want to talk about their mortgage with their friends, right? They don't want to talk about their money. They don't want to talk about, that's all for all those social things. But they could tell their friends, oh my God, my loan officer just sent me this video. And they can hit play and show the video, because I never give confidential information, because it's going to listing agent, buyer's agent, right?
And you want to maintain compliance.
And stay compliant. And so it gives people a thing to talk about in their sphere that's turned into a phenomenal referral tool that totally I wasn't expecting.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's one of those things that I tell people all the time, like, your videos are going to be shared. When you send a client, a video saying, congratulations, your offer was accepted, they're going to share that video, and now they're essentially doing marketing for you. Whereas a voicemail where your agent was saying your offer's accepted, no one shares a voicemail with their friends.
Exactly.
It's not the same thing.
Exactly. And I actually just had another aha moment last week with BombBomb, which was so much fun because I kind of thought I had my shtick, and where one of the biggest issues I'm bumping into is a new lead will come in the door, whether it's via the website or calling in. My assistant, my scheduler puts it on my list of to-dos of call this new lead. And I have a commitment that I will reach out to them within 24 hours. And okay, but maybe what if, God forbid, they pick up the phone and then they want to tell me a story, right? So then I have to only call when I have like 20 minutes to listen. And so I kept not doing my first response calls and if my assistant could fire me, she probably would have, right? Because I was being so terrible at my follow-up because of the timing issue. And then, what am I doing? Hi, this is Ruby. So glad you reached out. Catherine's going to get you scheduled. And all of a sudden, I'm actually doing and checking things off on my to-do list.
I love it.
And that's no new widgets, right? Just the basic BombBombs that I hadn't thought of
that
using.
You hadn't thought to leverage that way. And it's such a great way. I think I would never ever tell anyone in business to stop making phone calls. That's never ever going to happen. However, as a consumer, I also understand that when people like real estate agents or lenders or my insurance agent are calling me during the day, well, during the day I'm at work. And my focus is there. And when I leave work, I am driving kids to basketball practice and track and all of that. And the video gives people an opportunity to consume it on their time, right? Yeah. I'm so glad that you just had that aha moment with those first touches.
It felt so like, oh, this is what, but I got so set in my Friday video updates that I kind of forgot about the initial.
That initial one-to-one, nice warm touch.
Exactly.
Warm touch.
Exactly.
Do you find that your transactions, that people feel more connected to you than before video?
Yes. So as the team is doing more of the minutia, I was really afraid that people would feel like I wasn't doing my part as the loan officer of staying in touch with them and really staying connected. And then at the end, we'll get these testimonials and get these thank you cards. Ruby, you were so there and stayed on top of it and did it. I'm like, God, I could have thought I was barely present, but I'm glad you felt that way. Right? And so it's that thing of it's working because there's only so many hours in the day, and I really do want people to feel that I am with them on this journey, because I am.
Yeah, because you are.
I am. If they have if they have an urgent question, man, I'm right there.
Well, it's that scalability piece where video gives you the ability to scale the things that you can scale. Yeah. Like you can scale a Friday afternoon update. You can't scale a panicked personal phone call.
Exactly.
So if you scale the things that you can scale, it frees you up for the other.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I am also doing the birthday prompts, and at first I was doing, over the winter when things were slower, I was doing individual birthdays. And then about a month ago I was like, oh, that's done. And scheduled the generic one and just thought, I'm going to be okay with this. Yeah. And if things shift and I can hop back in and do the individual, then it's there for me.
It's still more than most lenders are ever sending anyone.
Exactly. And I wear a silly thing on my head, and I've got a kazoo. Yep. So it's totally dorkola and non-stuffy.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so top 3 videos that you think a lender should be sending in their business.
So when the offer is submitted, I send a video to the listing agent and CC the buyers and the buyer's agent saying, hi, I'm the lender. You've just received an offer from our realtor. I want you to know that if you accept this offer, you're going to be receiving these kinds of updates from me. Awesome. I really look forward to working together. And I started doing that in the era when people were putting in 10 offers before they got a house. And I was like, how can I leverage this time by at least getting my face? Because then you're getting in front of every offer that goes in, regardless of if they got the house. Yeah. So it puts your name in the community. So that's, I think, one, and it makes your buyer's offer stronger. Number 2 is, well, I love my Friday video updates. It just checks so many boxes of accountability and really clears up the selective hearing. I've had people say, how come you didn't tell me that this date was, I said, actually, I've been saying it every Friday for the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And then I can track, they go back and watch the last 3 weeks and come back, I am so sorry, you're absolutely right, we just didn't. Yeah. And then there's accountability. Yeah. Third video, I think, is probably what I'm just now starting to do, of being with the more just, hi, thanks for reaching out to Salmon Bay. I really look forward to connecting with you soon. And knowing that that's enough. Yeah. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to, it certainly shouldn't be long.
Nope. Definitely not long. Definitely not long.
So those are I'd say the three.
Awesome. I love that. So you said the updates, the video to the listing agent
At the time
of offer, and then those first touch integrations.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That would be.
Thank you so much for your time, Ruby. I appreciate you sharing your BombBomb journey and bringing some value to our people.
It's been great. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for helping me catapult my industry. I actually, sort of lastly, if I can add,
Yes.
the piece that I haven't heard anybody say
Yes.
is I do numbers. I love numbers. I'm crazy dyslexic when it comes to typing and words. My spelling's atrocious. And I feel like this is a tool like for all the ADD dyslexics in the world.
Yes.
Has revolutionized my ability to move quickly with my clients.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't built as a learning disability tool, but wow, it sure checks that box.
I love that. I've actually never heard someone comment on that specifically. When I'm teaching, I talk about the fact that you don't have to worry about your spelling or grammar and go back, but I've never heard someone comment on that specifically. So I'd love to hear that.
As I get older, I feel like it's getting worse. I was like, I need some tools here.
I understand. Awesome.
So, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Ruby.
Thanks for tuning into the BombCast today. Head to bombbomb.com/bombcast to access past episodes, get info on future episodes, and subscribe to our BombCast newsletter.